Ryan Simons. I'm the president of the Wilson Chamber of Commerce. I've been in that role for 8 years now. I'm a graduate of East Carolina University. I got my MBA at the University of Maryland. I didn't start out doing Chamber of Commerce work. I began my career in local government, city government. And a lot of my job involved regulating businesses, where they could go, what type of requirements they needed to meet. What I realized pretty early on in that process is that I preferred helping businesses and trying to figure out ways that I could help them thrive and prosper. And that's exactly what we do at a Chamber of Commerce. So that's what I spend my time doing, is helping businesses be successful and specifically be successful here in Wilson with the unique conditions that we have here in this community. The things that I wish I had sort of done more of in high school and in college was just to be more curious and get outside of my comfort zone a little bit. I mean, there were things that I enjoyed and I felt like I was pretty good at. Obviously, you play sports growing up. You participate in various clubs and social activities, and I enjoyed all of those things. But I really wish I would have stretched my limits a little bit more and maybe do some of those things, acquire some of those experiences that were offered to me, but I didn't do because I didn't think that I would have been very good at them. What I have learned is that just making the effort at something that stretches your limits, stretches your comfort zone a little bit, you learn from those experiences, and it adds to your strengths while at the same time helping improve some of those areas where you might be weakest at. I was not unlike a lot of teenagers today. I think timid of approaching adults or teachers about what resources or opportunities they might be aware of or that might exist. And again, I think that's something that in hindsight I wish I would have done more. But I will say that one thing that I was good at, and a piece of advice that I would give any high school student or college student, is to look at those adults as examples of the type of character that you might want, or skill sets that they're good at. And if you notice that they're particularly well suited at something, maybe it's public speaking or organizational skills or management skills or leadership skills, just try to learn and observe and take notes, even if they're just mental notes, about the types of things that those adults around you, those examples that they set, good and bad, by the way. I've also had negative experiences with adults in my life and teachers in my life that I learned from them as well. So I think every encounter you have with somebody, especially somebody in an authority position, is an opportunity to learn from them, whether it's a habit or a skill that you want to acquire or one that you want to avoid. And I was able to do that, but I would certainly encourage students, if you see something particularly that you like out of a teacher or an adult or an authority figure, don't hesitate to just pull them to the side and ask them how they develop that skill or habit or talent, if that's something that you think would be particularly useful to you. When I was in high school, I was always under the impression that a 4-year college degree is just something that is expected of you, and that's something that you needed to do. So I never really gave much thought to anything besides that. However, when I look back at my peers, my colleagues who I graduated with, who I went to school with, who chose a different path, and I see how successful some of them have become while doing something and experiencing something different than I did, I'm just really impressed with that. And sometimes I wonder, if I had made a different decision, would I have been equally successful or perhaps more successful? And there is proof from folks that I went to school with that that's absolutely the case. I have several friends that didn't go to college at all, that went directly into the workforce. Maybe they were an apprentice with someone. I friends who went to a 2-year school or community college and acquired skills that are just incredibly valuable in the workforce and have been extremely successful. I would say, though, that the common denominator for all of them, whether they went to a 4-year school, they went to the military, they went to a 2-year school, they went directly into the workforce, all of them had a high-level work ethic. All of them were curious and wanted to learn, were eager to learn. and didn't see a diploma or a certificate or a degree as the end of something. They saw that as the beginning of something, as just a natural next step towards progressing towards success. All of them have that in common. So yeah, I chose the path of a 4-year school, and at the time, that's all I knew. But certainly now, knowing that there's so many more opportunities available to folks, it would really behoove a high school student to explore those opportunities that are available to them. So I have 2 daughters myself, one who will be going to high school much sooner than what I'd like. But the advice that I give to my children, and the advice that I would give to any high school student, is make sure that you understand what you're good at, and try to match those talents with some sort of marketable skill out there. And don't be afraid to ask and probe and get more information about what opportunities exist out there that match up with your talents. Far too often I see people who feel pressured to do something because it's expected of them, when that's not where their passions are, that's not where their talents are, maybe that's not what they're particularly good at. And I don't care how much money you're offered, if you can't do something that makes you happy and fulfilled, it's just not going to be very rewarding, and I would argue there's probably not a lot of success that is going to be tied to it. Whereas if you follow your passions, you follow your skill set, you develop those, you focus on those strengths rather than focusing on weaknesses or areas where you're not particularly skilled, I think you have a much more greater chance of success. So that's the advice I would give. And then the second thing that I would say is that if you do that, if you have a strong work ethic, if you take advice and you're open-minded, and you surround yourself with high-quality people, that you have a responsibility and a duty to give back. I'm fortunate that I get to participate with a lot of community organizations like the Wilson Education Partnership, and I think it's important that once you reach a certain level of comfort in your career or your career path, that you find opportunities to help others. In my case, it's working with organizations like WEP, but if you find another passion, another calling where you can make a significant contribution, even if it's not in your direct line of work, if you're passionate about helping the homeless or helping the hungry or the sick, if you can do that out of the kindness of your heart, I feel like you have a responsibility to do that. And it will make you a better employee. It'll make you a better worker. It'll make you a better boss if you are able to share your strengths with others and share your passion for what you do with other people.